So I don't know if there's any spoilers in this. I'm shooting this on Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas Eve. Sending out a lot of love to y'all. Or Merry Christmas, too, if you're watching this on Christmas. This is Travis Willingham on Critical Role, characters and voice acting. Travis is my favorite. I think all the critters know this by now. So what a perfect video to get. And, yeah, before we begin, wait, what else did I have to say? I don't remember. If you're not watching this on Christmas, that's okay. Every day is a holiday. But, freak, I feel like I had something else to add, but I don't think I do. All right, well, let's just continue then. Let's get on with this. It's 8 minutes. I'm going to stretch it to 16. I don't know. We'll see.
Talking with Travis Willingham about his new... Today, I'm talking with Travis Willingham about his new character, Ford, voice acting, and the freedom that comes with creating your very own character.
I struggled a lot more than most of the rest of the cast. I think other people had already, like, as the first campaign was drawing to a close, already had like a little idea bubbling in the back of their head about who their next character was going to be, and I was not doing that. I was not cheating on Grog until it was done. And then when it was finally done, I realized how I was just completely directionless. I thought maybe Paladin, I thought maybe Fighter. I knew I still needed something melee based because that's just how I tend to think. And
no, I get it because he played Grog, and Grog was a barbarian, so he needed to still be in the heat of the combat, up in their face. I get that now.
Situation.
I really get that now.
But I knew that.
One quick second. If you hear some background noise, forgive me. But
having no spells and having gone 5 years in playing D&D and never casting a true spell, that wasn't going to work. So. Laura actually wanted to play a cleric first, and as she described it and got very excited, I was like, ooh, I think I want to do that. And she was like, fine, you can be a cleric. I think I'm going to make a warlock. And then she started to...
That would have been pretty cool. So I see where the information came now when it was like Laura wanted to play certain characters first, but holy cow, that would have been cool. Could you imagine could you imagine Taliesin and Ford as two clerics? That would have been crazy.
Describe what the warlock could do. I was like, I want to do that. I think I want to be a warlock. And she was like, fine. I just kept snagging what she would take.
They got to keep.
And then in the Xanathars, they introduced the Hexblade, and I was like, oh no, sentient weapons. It just kind of it started a little spark of imagination, so I decided to go with the new Hexblade and explore it at least, so that I would have some melee stuff as well as some spells. Flying back from Australia, when you're locked in a solid metal tube for 16 hours with a blank sheet of paper on a computer, you write a sentence and it turns into a paragraph.
Yeah.
And it turns into several pages of backstory, and that's where Ford came from.
That's it.
There's a tremendous amount of pressure. It is not the same as when we were just playing in our living room and nobody was watching and there were no social media comments, immediately after the game was over. You're far freer to screw up or do something incorrectly or just make a dud of a character. Like you're never going to hear about it, or you might from your friends, but who cares? With the audience that Critical Role has, it's impossible not to go like, oh God, I hope I make something that people like or that they are inspired by, or even if they hate it voraciously, at least that's like, some sort of interaction that you want to build. So
see, and I say that too, even when like I'm reacting to certain videos or just making commentary, doing whatever, is like I hope to still build some sort of reaction out of the person, whether they don't like it or whether they do like it or whatever. And that's great. So I feel that. And that's funny. That's what I was saying about campaign 1. As I still have more of episode 25 to release, but as I was watching it, it felt way more raw. And also critters were telling me that this was in the time where I get to watch them grow and still learn D&D and stuff. And I thought it was pretty cool that, yeah, they feel like they're being more raw in campaign 1, but in campaign 2, it feels like they're being more professional in a sense, but still trying to have that freedom because now there's a way larger audience watching them. So, yeah.
You're just kind of worried about making like a dud, like a middle of the road, nothing that doesn't really have anything attached to it. And I found myself there in our session 0, which was our, I guess, sort of our experimenting phase where we, first got to put the skin on of the character. And I had decided that because Grog was such a moron, that I was going to have a higher intelligence and that I would be able to speak with a regular vocabulary and read and all those wonderful things. And I had decided just to use my own voice. And about a half hour into it, I hated it. Like, I hated it. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And it wasn't until earlier in that week I was doing a video game session, and the character had like a deeper Southern drawl. And by the time the 2 hours was over with, I was like, well.
Oh, he went to that shit so easy.
Is it cool to have a Southern accent, like a Texan accent in D&D in a fantasy world? So I asked Matt, and he was like, why not? And I'm like, yeah, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
That's where it came from. That first session was so crazy because I know we were all so confident in the first campaign, and watching, in my opinion, everybody but Laura, just like me.
One sec. So I'm going to wave my hands like this for spoilers. So I'm going to say, spoilers real quick. And then when I wave my hands again, the spoilers will be done. So this is real quick spoilers for anybody. Okay. I honestly wish that Ford would go back almost to that accent, but I know the accent was because of Vandrin, and then his normal accent is the British accent in the reveal, which is fucking insane. That blows my mind. But I wish that Ford would go back to the Southern accent because it was so cool. And then like even when not Veth goes like, ooh, like, like I miss the old Eldridge Blast, that, yeah, I will never stop saying Eldridge Blast like that now because of Travis and Ford. It's just so funny. But seriously, like I remember one time where I think they were in it was like, I think, yeah. I won't say too much about it just to get back to the video, but I remember they were staying in like this top of this like barn area when they were out in Joras, and it was like before the Oban stuff, and like I don't know if they were coming back from it, or I think they were coming back, but Travis was like, as Ford, he was like, I'm just letting you know if there's any stuff starts getting lit up, y'all know if y'all start hearing Eldridge Blast go through the roof, y'all know it's time to turn up. And I was like fucking dying during that. So yeah, it was fucking awesome. But I miss the old accent, but the British one is cool too. I love a British accent. I fucking love it. Or the original English accent. I gotta say that for Uber, I had ones who he had me weak, but that's a story for another time. Anyways, okay. Spoilers over. Spoilers over. Okay.
Weekly peek out from behind the curtains of their character and like barely using their accent and barely taking any chances and stuff like that. I think everybody kind of followed Laura's example out into the sunshine of the second campaign, because otherwise we would have been I think just as shy as we were the first couple of minutes for quite a while.
Yeah, Liam's accent has certainly become increasingly German with every episode.
Yeah, like Liam went from like subtly German, which he thought was going to come across, to like, oh, he's not doing an accent. He was like, no, I'm doing a German accent. And like, oh, there's a little German. He's like, fine, I am full German. This is like the whole thing. And we love Taliesin because the Irish.
It's actually funny. It's actually funny that they're saying that, because it seems as the episodes go on, Liam gets progressively less German.
Irish dial just goes up and down and up and down and up and down. So,
yeah, with Molly,
people like Taliesin, he was like, this is a chance for me to perfect my Irish accent. We're like, or work on it. So it's like, it's one of those things where as a voiceover artist, it's nice to try on an accent that maybe you haven't had a lot of experience with. I think one of the hidden benefits of voice acting is sort of the level of anonymity that we enjoy. Like we work on a lot of we used to a lot of like video games and animation, and I mean there are certainly fans and there are certainly the people that know that who we are, but it's not, we're not in the breakfast aisle getting noticed, or well, I guess it happens sometimes now because of the show, but you know, you can show up in pajamas and it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, it doesn't matter what you look like, or tall, skinny, you know, pretty, ugly, any of those things. It's just about what you can do with your voice. And one of the things I loved about theater so much in college was that it was, you know, the theater of the imagination, the fourth wall. Even though there's an audience out there, you had a whole scenario that was in your mind, and you were agreeing to play in that space with the other actors on the stage. And in voiceover, it's the same thing. You don't have a set. You don't have usually other actors to act off of. There's no action that's happening. It's all in your head. You might be running in place or punching the air, but it's all just what you come up with yourself. And there's something that is very like play in the backyard, play in the sandbox about that. Like when you were a kid, you know, your imagination just kind of took you wherever you want to. And that's what I love about D&D, is that everybody's agreeing to play in the same space. And even for the people that are watching it, what we have in our mind might not be the exact same thing that they see as they're watching the show. And that's why we enjoy the art so much, because you see what everyone's movie was in their head afterwards. And that's just incredible to witness. It's super freeing to know that the bullshit that you're coming up with in the moment is the truth. You know, whether people like it or not, it's just what you came up with. And
holy crap,
there are moments where we feel the pressure, whether it was like the character creation or we want to know how a certain interaction went over, but we know immediately what the reaction is. And sometimes we take that into account because we're totally imperfect people that are bound to make mistakes. But
and exactly, like that's exactly what I said in my watching my Travis is exactly what I thought when it came to the similar minds thing, and why I attached to Travis so much, because that's like a thing that I feel like a skill a lot of people have, or like a natural innate thing. You're going to resonate with certain people that resonate with you, and I feel like that is exactly why I clicked with Travis so quickly. Was that I knew the way he thought in his mind was kind of on the similar wavelength. That's the only reason you grow attached to certain people. I'm not saying like I'm attached to him, but like, I mean, like, I like the way his mind works, because this is exactly what I was saying in my video where I talked about this, and I was speaking that truth about, remember, these are like, you know, none of us are perfect. Don't try to be perfect. Just try to be you. You know, if you really love this cast of people and everything, like, you love them for what they are. You know, don't gush too much over them. Like they're like setting an example almost. Like it's a hard thing to explain, but literally by, like, I've said this in certain videos, by watching them and finding them, I've been more comfortable with not trying to, like, there's always this thing, this recurring pattern, and those of you who pop into my stream definitely know. We talked about it, had a deep conversation one night about one of the reasons I felt like I was really on Earth was completing a karmic pattern of letting go of that caring about what people like or expect of me, because in my life that I went through a very lot of so many eyes in my life looking at me. It was literally almost like I was living a movie. So many different perspectives on who I was, and like, is he a good guy? Is he chaotic neutral? It was literally like I felt like every damn person I met, I was going through the fucking lawful good, lawful, like the whole list. So I just like to really, I like that he said that. They're not perfect. Like, it's like, I hope like really deep down there, I know there are people that get that. There are people that get that, but I feel like some people forget that sometimes. I want to run that back.
What the reaction is, and sometimes we take that into account because we're totally imperfect people that are bound to make mistakes. But most of the time, it's just our game. Like, we're gonna do whatever we want to do. We're gonna try and make each other laugh like we would if we were at our house.
At our home.
Shit that Sam does cracks me up.
I love the freedom of all this. I love how he talks about the freedom of all this. Exactly. Everyone should feel this.
It's been really great to acknowledge amongst ourselves that we were never going to let anything that the show does change our dynamic, our game, our friendship. And as long as, that remains the same, then we think that, the show will remain what it is. And that's been incredible. I think if every week had a live audience, it might be a lot different because you would really see what the impact is. And when those live shows happen, it's incredible. But we like that it's Thursday, it's quiet, it's behind closed doors. We've got our drinks, we've got our friends, we're making asses of ourselves, and people like to watch that.
Yeah, people resonate with that. That's cool. Certainly, definitely, like what he said there. I noticed that. I said it, and I'm glad it was taken that I was saying it in like a nice way and not like being like, oh, they act different during the live show. So I'm glad nobody took it like that and seen my true intention. But what I was saying that is, yes, they are completely different during the they're completely different during the live show. Like I said, they're like they seem a little bit more professional. Like I said, the overall feel of C2 is more like professional, but it seems like they still were being free and like stepping out of their comfort zone. But I moved the mic. I'm so slow. I moved the mic because I was getting ready to show my dice. Literally, I moved the mic to go like this. So I'll do it first. Do this. I got dice. I'm in there now. I'm making characters, the whole everything. It's too much. Jesus, I'm a mess now. But yes, like I was saying, to recap right there, run it back. I'm not even gonna edit it out. Yeah, during the live shows, they're much more like entertain. Try to entertain the crowd because you have a live show, so it makes sense. Like I said, it makes sense. But I like the episodes where they're not really at the live show more because they get to make asses of themselves and be free. And that's the part that I feel like a lot of us connect with the most, is that freedom they have and just being them. And definitely, like I was saying before, when I went on that little rant about myself, after finding Critical Role, especially like listening to Travis and still listening a little bit to the behind the sheets, it really inspired me to really like be myself more. And I feel like that's one thing that I preach a lot, but I literally a lot of the things that I've preached in the past, and then like and all the people that I've inspired, that's the one thing I should have taken to heart way more, and is be myself, because being yourself, you allow people to see the most authentic version of you, and the right people will come around if you treat yourself right in the end. So with that message said and done and out there, my boy Travis, Travis is dope. I wouldn't mind meeting him, but if you see my other video talking about like Travis's moments, basically what I said. But much love and light, as always much love and light. Again, Merry Christmas Eve if you're watching that on that date, this date, and tomorrow's date. And in all seriousness, a little inside joke. Yes, I need some sleep. That's a joke for the stream. Yeah. All right. See y'all in the next one. Love all y'all, and happy holidays if you do celebrate. I'm out. And is it Thursday? I tried. I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry, critters.